Okay, continuation tayo with our discussion. So, next topic natin is our crude oil washing, no? Or COW. So, the COW is a machine that used to clean the cargo hold. So, I'll show you video of how it operates and how it works.
Let's first look at the different types of crude oil washing machine. There are two types, the single nozzle programmable and the non-programmable twin nozzle types. Single nozzle programmable machines can be set to wash specific areas of the tank. To save time, the upper parts of the tank can be washed during the bulk discharge. A typical initial wash pattern might wash from 140 degrees to 30 degrees. As most residues are on the bottom wash might include two cycles, one washing from 60 degrees to 0 and one from 30 degrees to 0. After the first cycle, sounding should be made to determine the effectiveness of the cow, the residue present, and whether a second bottom wash is needed. With double-hulled ships, top washes may not be needed on every discharge. These programmable machines need to be programmed for every wash. Typically, they have a throughput of between 110 and 170 tons per hour. The twin nozzle machines are not programmable. They always carry out a complete cycle in a specific time. The cycle time will depend on the correct line pressure. During bottom washing, it is essential that there is no liquid buildup, as even 20 centimeters of oil will protect the residue from the jet action of the cow machines. Crude oil washing machines are driven by the oil from the cargo pumps acting on an impeller. So for the washing to be effective, the oil pressure must be correct. If it's not correct, the oil will not be hitting the sludge with the right amount of energy, and neither the jet length nor the cycle time will be up to specification. The result will be ineffective and prolonged washing. The penalties include increased discharge time and increased oil remaining on board. The washing machines are fitted according to the individual tank's shadow diagram and the MARPOL requirements. The equipment is always tested before certification. Crude oil washing is all about getting as much oil ashore as possible. So about half the discharge time is spent bulk discharging the cargo and about half crude oil washing and stripping. Eductors are the preferred way of stripping. They have no moving parts but require a good supply of cargo at the correct pressure. Stripping pumps and vac strip systems are also commonly used. Check your manuals to see the equipment fitted to your ship. Crude oil washing is only possible with inert tank atmospheres, so this makes the inert gas system another component of the cow system. The inert gas system is dealt with in a companion training package. The final component is the right crude oil. Some heavy crudes are designated unsuitable for cow by the IMO because they are very viscous. Check your ship's cow operations manual for details. Low temperatures can pose the risk of crude oil solidifying in the supply lines. It may need to be heated. The temperature of oil used for cow must be at least 10 degrees Celsius above its cloud point. Again, check your cow operation manual for more information. This manual is a mandatory requirement for every tanker. It will contain the basis for the cow plan, itself the basis for the cow operation. The vessel requirements and charterer's instructions are also essential in planning crude oil washing.
I just received the voyage instructions here.
You must always be certain that your cow plan meets your charter party obligations. Any doubts should be clarified between the master and the charterer before the planning of the discharge and crude oil washing.
What I propose then, 2 is a due crude oil washing for MARPOL requirements, and additionally I would suggest we carry out a bottom wash for this grade to maximise outturn.
I can't see there being any problems with that. I'll investigate with the agent just in case.
Okay, then well, I'll plan accordingly then.
The washing plan is an integral part of the discharge plan. Calculation of stress, trim and draft is essential for every hour of the discharge. Careful thought is required, particularly if there is more than one crude on board or more than one discharge port. You must not just reuse old plans unless the discharging circumstances are identical. Different crudes will contain different amounts of wax and sediment. The more wax, the more washing they will require. If a slop tank is being used as a reservoir for cow, it must be recharged from time to time to keep the crude oil fresh and not saturated with wax. Overwashing using light crudes should be avoided, as it means loss of some of the higher fractions. Time will be a crucial factor. That's why it's essential to know the cycle times of the washing machines to allow sufficient time. Allowance must be made for cargo pump capacity for washing and final stripping. The trim will affect the crude oil washing. The International Safety Guide for Oil Tankers and Terminals recommends the use of a bar chart showing pump and cargo lines being used, including car requirements. This will help ensure that the right equipment and cargo is available for washing. The plan must always take into account that the ship will need to dry dock. Additional washing during the last few discharges before dry dock will reduce the residues down to the minimum and avoid delays and the high costs of manual desludging. Once the master has approved the plan, the watch-keeping officers need to sign it. All officers involved in the discharge must have access to the plan. They should be encouraged to ask questions to ensure that they understand what needs to be done and when.
And it's a full bottom wash and all tanks.
We're doing that to maximise the outturn with this particular grade as it's slightly heavier than usual. Any other questions at all?
No, that's it. That's fine.
The plan is the basis for the cow operation. The terminal staff will need to approve it. Surveyors and inspectors may need to examine it. The cow operation begins on the day before berthing. Your manuals will have a full cow checklist that you must keep to.
Hello Jack, that's us just about to start the cargo pump to test the cow line.
The cow lines must be pressure tested to normal working pressure. This can be done by recirculating cargo, but the pressure needs to be increased slowly to reduce the risk of hydraulic shock at the end of the lines.
Hello Jack, pump's running, just going to start increasing. We've got about 4 bar on the cow line now.
Okay, there's no signs of any leak so far.
Okay, just gradually bring the pump up now.
There must be a thorough inspection for leakage, and any leaks must be repaired. A record must be kept of the tests.
Okay Jack, that's us up to the 10 bar now. Can you just have a good look round please?
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any signs of any leaks out on deck.
Okay, copy that.
All pressure gauges must be checked. This will include the gauges on the top discharge line, the manifold, and the main tank washing line. The washing lines must be isolated from the heating arrangements, and any hydrant valves on the washing line must be blanked. The stripping arrangements need to be checked. Last but not least, the inert gas system should be checked and prepared as specified in the ship's IG manuals.
Okay Jack, thanks very much.
All these tests and checks need to be recorded in the log for presentation to the terminal staff. Once alongside, the cow plan and the discharge plan must be scrutinized and approved by the terminal staff. The time must be taken by both sides to ensure that everyone is certain that everything is in order. In addition to these plans, there are many issues that need to be agreed with shore staff. These will include details of terminal regulation, details of communication between the ship and the terminal, and emergency shutdown procedures.
Okay, Jack, that's us up to the 10 bar now. Can you just have a good look round please?
The cow plan is the basis for the cow operation. The plan must always take into account that the ship will need to dry dock. Additional washing during the last few discharges before dry dock will reduce the residues down to the minimum and avoid delays and the high costs of manual desludging.
The pump's now settled at 1200 revs there, Gary. If you want to come up while we do the line displacement.
Once discharge begins, the cow plan becomes active. To reduce the risk of electrostatic discharge inside the tanks during cow, any tank that is being used as a source for washing oil must be partially discharged by at least 1 metre. This ensures that any water that has settled out will not be used for cow. If the slop tank is being used as a reservoir, it must be completely emptied and refilled. Care must be taken not to overpressurize or overfill the slop tank during backfilling. Before washing starts in any tank, the oxygen content of the tank atmosphere must be checked to be certain that it's below the specified maximum. This means checking at several levels in the tank.
Hello Phil, can you stand by on the cow machines and the slop tank please? We're going to start cowing in a moment.
Okay.
Once discharge is underway, and once the tank to be used as a reservoir for the cow has been filled with dry oil, then at the appropriate time set out in the plan, the washing operation is started. Immediately, all the lines must be checked again for leaks by a crew member. While crude oil washing is underway, there should be at least one responsible person on the deck at all times, supervising and monitoring the procedure. Regular inspections must be made, including checking that machines are fully operational and that the cycle times are correct. Check that the machines are washing in the right tanks. Always take the time to check on each machine. You can tell a lot by listening to them. You should be able to hear the jet moving across the tank bulkhead. Always keep an eye on the cow line pressure. Correct pressure is the key to effective washing. Pressure in the tanks is important too. Make sure that vapor pressure does not build up during washing. This can lead to unplanned venting to atmosphere, which may be illegal in the terminal. Hot sunny days can have the same effect. The plan must be kept to at all times. If things start to go wrong, the chief officer must be notified immediately. Better to call him sooner rather than later if you are in any doubt. Always check that the inert gas system is operating correctly, with an oxygen content below 5% or below 8% for older ships, and enough pressure to maintain an excess pressure of 100 millimeters water gauge in the tanks. If the oxygen level increases, the discharge may have to be stopped, and with that, the cow. If ballasting is being carried out in a non-segregated ballast tank ship at the same time as cargo discharge and cow, then there must be strict supervision. This is because of the increased risk of over or under pressurization and the risk of cross-contamination between cargo and ballast lines. The most important part of the crude oil washing program is the bottom washing. The trim becomes of vital importance for the final stages of bottom washing.
Hello Dave, that's the branch on 5 shut. The machine should be stopped now. You can dip the tank please.
The bottom wash is monitored using a dipping rod or by remote gauging. The dipping rod must be used at the aft end of the tank. It's important to avoid excessive build-up on the bottom, as this will reduce the efficiency of the washing process. The recommended tank draining method must be followed. After washing has finished, each tank must be stripped again, after time has been allowed for cargo to drain aft to the stripping suction.
Speed of 2 centimeters.
2 centimetres in 5 7, thank you. Yeah, we'll just keep you ducked in there for a moment, Gary. Just sweep the pump up again.
When washing has stopped, the valve to each washing machine must be closed.
That's the crude oil washing complete. If you can slow the pump down to 12.
Once the cargo operation is complete, all main lines and stripping lines, pumps and cow lines must be drained as quickly as possible. This is very important if the crude oil has been heated.
Hello Deck, that's the crude oil washing complete. We've shut the branch into the cow system. If you can go and open the machine forward in one port and aft in the slop tanks please to drain the system down.
To speed this up, open one forward washing machine and one machine in the slop tank, so that all the cargo in the cow line drains into the slop tank. Final tank and line draining is done with a stripping pump connected to the shore, using a small line called the Marpole line. Crude oil washing is an important part of crude oil discharge. Effective crude oil washing increases cargo outturns, reduces the amount of sludge buildup, and reduces the risk of pollution. Effective maintenance of the washing machines is important. Cow machines are not fit and forget. Make sure you maintain them according to the manufacturer's standards. Eductors need attention too. Check the time taken to strip a set quantity of liquid from a cargo tank. Loss in performance usually means that the eductor nozzle is worn and must be replaced. Most of all, regular inspection of the tanks will tell you how well the cow machines are operating. Any build-up of residue should be noted and investigated. Keep to the procedures described in your ship's manual. Always make sure that the plan fulfills charter party requirements and that this is recorded in the log. For further information, refer to the
Okay, so crude oil washing requirements in order to ensure that the COW is flat and effectively protecting the marine environment against pollution. The design, operation, and control of COW systems are required to the IMO specification. So IMO stands for International Maritime Organization, and only crude oil tankers in which the cow system and operation are surveyed and found to be in accordance with the specification will issued by the IOPP certificate. So for the IOPP certificate, it is the International Oil Pollution Prevention. So again, the cow system is only available for a tanker vessel in which they are in which they are a crude oil tankers. No? So the process of the crude oil washing, this system is a virtually eliminates the requirement of slope tanks on ships, and almost all cargo can be transferred to this shore. So what is the advantage of COW? First, reduction of pollution, potential increase cargo outturn, less dead freight, mababawasan yung mga tira-tira sa na residue, less time required to subsequent tank cleaning kasi syempre mas mabagal kung tao yung gagalaw, no, kasi yung COW hindi naman napapagod and na-cover niya lahat ng sides, and less needed to prepare a tank for repairs and dry dock kasi it is already on the structure of the vessel, nakadikit na siya, and less corrosion because of the less water washing. So that is the advantage of COW. And of course, kapag merong advantage, meron din tayo disadvantage. So increased workload, syempre preparation 'yan, no? And prolonged discharge time. Syempre mas matagal magdi-discharge kasi mas marami kailangan ng water system, and also cost of COW equipment. Yung mga maintenance, and also increased safety risk in port. And what is the criteria of the for discharging? So before any pre-wash of discharge procedure is carried out accordance with the regulation, relevant tank should be emptied and maximum extent in the accordance. So when discharging, also we have the documentation. So for the documents, it relating for the carriage of harmful substances by sea, such as substances named the correct technical name of each such substance shall be used, and the substance further identified the addition words marine pollutant. And also under the regulation for the documentation, so it must be packaged, marked, labeled, and placarded as appropriate and proper condition of the carriage to minimize the hazard of the marine environment. As we have discussed last week about the uh, classes of the IMDG code. No? So, stowage. Harmful substances shall be properly stowed, secured, and minimize the hazard for the marine environment without the impairing the safety of the ship and of course, the persons on board, which is the crew. So, under Regulation 6, in limiting the quantity due to consideration shall be given to size, construction, and equipment of the ship as well as the packaging of the inherent nature of the substances. So, where the clear grounds of believing that the master of the crew are not familiar with the essential shipboard procedures relating to the prevention of pollution by harmful substances, the party shall take steps are to ensure that all shall sail until the situation has been brought into order. So, what is the problems and areas of concern under the MARPOL 4? So, again, the excessive use of water on board, no? Problema din yan. Leaking toilets, chemicals, large objects, food waste, storage capacity, and low attention of maintenance. Ayan naman yung mga dahilan kung bakit nandun yung mga seafarers. Also, hindi yan kasi gagana ng by itself. So, kailangan ng help ng human being. So, kaya tayo nasa barko, we are responsible for maintaining the vessel, also to have a idea on how to stow the cargo, how to eliminate the food waste, the large object kung saan ba natin lalagay yung chemical, isesegregate natin, and also the excessive use of water on board and leaking of toilets. Tayo rin naman ang gumagamit. So ano yung mga risks na pwede mangyari kapag ito ay napabayaan natin? So pwede magkaroon ng sickness, no? Siyempre mag-form dyan yung bacteria, worm, and also can be caused to human health like Asian gypsy moth or pest. No? So, na-experience ko na yung Asian gypsy moth na yan sa barko, ang bilis niyan dumami. No? In span of one day, ang dami niya kagad sa barko at ang hirap nilang i-clear out. And equipment requirement, so discharge pipeline fitted, standard discharge, approved sewage treatment, commuter disinfection system, and temporary means of storage and holding tank. So, sewage treatment, dito dumadaan yung ating mga dumi. No? From the word itself, sewage. It is approved sewage treatment plan that can be approved by the administration of the IMO. Siyempre, hindi porket dumi ng tao, itatapon na agad natin yan sa dagat. So, dadaan muna yan sa sewage treatment kung pwede na yan or not harmful para sa mga ating mga marine life, no, sa mga isda natin. So syempre kahit nasabihin natin dumi pa rin yan, if can cause pollution to the marine life, hindi siya approved para i-release sa dagat. So we have the sewage commuting and disinfecting system. So ginagrind dyan para mas maliit yung malabas niya through the overboard, and also nilalagyan siya ng treatment para mawala yung bacteria and for safetyness of the marine life. And sewage treatment plant should be approved with the accordance of the MARPOL or the IMO resolution under December 1976 standards. So it was adopted during 2006 of October and applicable for equipment installed later after January 2010. So we must take note that the different administration have a different quantities of sewage and gray water effluent. So the capacity depends on the flushing system, the number of people on board, ship's type, and trading system. So just imagine, no, gaano kadaming dumi ng tao ang na co-commute nila and yung mga tinitreat nila sa mga passenger vessel. Kung tanker lang yan or cargo, maximum of 35 na yan. Marami na yung 35 sa isang malaking barko. Eh, what more pa kung passenger yan. So, ang daming tao doon syempre, araw-araw may tumatay. Tendency, marami kayong i-dispose sa dagat na yon. And protection measures required by the Annex 5. So main objective of these guidelines is to assist the government for developing and domestic laws which have been forced or implemented under the Annex 5 and assist the vessel operators complying with the Annex 5 and domestic laws. So, assist part also the terminal operator in assessing the need for the providing of adequate reception facilities for garbage generated on the different uh, types of ship. So, again, yung reception facilities na tinutukoy natin dito, ito yung pag-dispose natin ng garbage on the port area. So, when disposing sea garbage, specified in this paragraph, has been passed through a commuter, no, para maging maliit yung ano niya, yung mass niya, hindi sobrang laki ng mga uh, kalat, no, grinder siya, and it is practicable. So we can prohibit the distance from the nearest land for less than 3 nautical miles, and we can commute comminuted or grounded the garbage capable for passing through the screen with the openings of not greater than 25 millimeters. So, ayan po yung itsura ng commuter. So, all garbage, including the paper, plastic, rags, glass, metal bottles, crockery, damaged lining, and packaging materials are undergo with this commuter para maging mas maliit yung mass niya or yung volume ng isang garbage. So that is the topic for our marine environment midterm. So again, for the next week, no, another topic na tayo, and it is for pre-final quarter natin. So again, if you have a question, just put your question on the comment section or on the chat box, no, para ma-address natin yung questions niyo. So if wala, we can proceed now to our uh, pwede na tayo mag-log out. Okay, thank you very much.